welcome. You're watching Medically Speaking, and I am Meenakshi Upredi. Now, a few days ago, we all had kept coronavirus in the back burner. Perhaps the biggest fear in our mind was rather during the COVID pandemic, but then that started subsiding, that started waning. Those concerns, those fears have risen once again. There is a new variant, a variant which has been found in South Africa. It has, of course, also been found in Israel and Hong Kong. What does this new variant mean for India? Do we need to worry about it? The government of India said that there could be horrible mutations. And I just quote the government, quote unquote, the horrible mutations is what the government of India is worried about. The World Health Organization has put it in the VOC and not the VOI, which is a variant of concern category. And now the government has also decided that those who are coming from these countries, perhaps to India, to the Mumbai airport, they will be quarantined. Do we need to worry? What is all of this? In elaborate detail, I have us on NewsX. I'd like to introduce, first of all, Dr. Vinnie Kanchru. She's a senior respiratory, critical care and sleep medicine consultant at the Apollo Hospitals of the National Capital. We have Dr. Vivek Nangia. He is the head of pulmonology department from Max Hospital. Then we have Dr. Mantul. He is associated with the All India Institute of Medical Science. He'll be joining us in a bit. And we can also see Dr. Praveen Gupta. He is a principal director and head of the Department of Neurology at the Fortis Hospital. Let me start, first of all, with Dr. Kanchru. Dr. Kanchru, help us understand. There are a lot of laymen watching the show. What exactly is this new variant? What does the government mean by horrible mutations? We've seen that Delta wave, extremely destructive wave. Those memories, of course, have not been erased from our minds. And now there is another fear of a new variant which could come in our country. What exactly is this variant? What are these horrible mutations which the government of India is talking about, ma'am?
Yes, Meenakshi, thanks for asking these questions. Now, I would like to reiterate the fact that when you told we had put COVID-19 at the back burner, so that was the folly which public was not trying to understand. So we did somehow forget about the COVID appropriate behavior, which we have been telling time in and out every time. Every time you meet people, every time you go into the public, you have to follow the COVID appropriate behavior. And the reason is simple, that respiratory viruses are known to have mutations. They do mutate every year, which happens with influenza virus, which we know already. So there is now this fear of a lot of mutations happening with COVID-19, which has been, as you said, found in South Africa. So they say it has about 30 mutations which have happened into the spike protein. So the biggest fear is that if you have so many number of mutations happening at one go, the spike protein would be more aggressive to connect to your tissues and to lead on to some kind of disease which could be more aggressive, which could be more infective, and hence lead to another kind of wave which could be cropping in. So this was being reiterated time in and time out, that you have to follow the COVID appropriate behavior to at least, prevent the coming in of so many variants. Now, this is at the moment the variant of concern, which means that we still have to see the effect of this virus practically, what it does. So variant of concern doesn't mean that it will actually lead to a third or the fourth wave here in India. But since it has so many number of mutations, so yes, that is why the government is actually fearful of it, so that it might need to lead to some kind of problems which could lead to increase in the number of cases, and which can have a behavior which could evade your immune mechanisms which has been created by vaccination.
Right. And, Dr. Nangia, do come in here, sir, since we are speaking of these various mutations, 30 plus mutations. What exactly does it mean for those who are even vaccinated? Because many of us think that, we are vaccinated, so that means we are protected from coronavirus. But then there are these new mutations, and especially Omicron, the new virus, as it's called. What does it mean for those who are double vaccinated and perhaps think that they can evade a virus just because they're vaccinated? What does this mean when you have so many mutations, sir?
So thank you, Meenakshi, for asking me this question. As Dr. Katru has already mentioned that this virus has nearly 50 mutations, out of which 30 are on the spike protein. If
Yes.
you know that the vaccine also targets the spike proteins only. So if there's a vaccine which is if there's a mutation in the spike protein, then one doesn't know whether the vaccine will be effective or not effective. We still have to wait for that answer. But in the meantime, we only have vaccines which can protect ourselves from catching COVID and from a serious illness. So we should go ahead and take our vaccination and not take them lightly. They also, whether these mutations will result in a more severe disease or not, we don't know yet. But one thing we know is that the infectivity is definitely higher. The transmissibility is definitely higher. So if it took about 6 weeks for the Delta variant to grow from 0 to 50% at a positivity rate, for this virus, it's only taken 2 weeks. So the chances that it will spread are very, very high. Although only a few number of cases have been detected so far, but we must remember that for every few cases detected, there will be several others who go undetected.
Undetected. Correct. And so you made a very pertinent point about the infectability and the comparison with the Delta variant. And Dr. Gupta, do come in here because there is a lot of concern amongst our viewers also, sir. Help us understand, for a layman, what are these various, variants? For a layman, what is the difference? What do we know about this Omicron variant? How is it different from Delta? And do we know yet, does the world know yet how it can be stemmed? Because Novavax, others, of course, vaccine and even medication producers are now looking at, at this new variant very, very closely, sir.
The thing is, once the virus undergoes mutation, the virus structure, which changes because of the mutations, changes the way the virus engages the host. Which means, for example, spike glycoprotein, which is the centerpiece of virus attachment to the host, if it undergoes a mutation, then the virus can attach to the host more quickly. That way it can spread more quickly. If the virus progresses into the body faster, it can cause more aggressive disease also. Which means the more the virus mutates, it actually evades the immunity that has been acquired till now. And that happens with influenza time and again. Every year we'll take an influenza vaccine because the influenza virus mutates so much. Now, from COVID perspective, we all are very rest assured and people move around in the country as if COVID has gone by and they are celebrating it. Now, suppose a variant which travels very fast, as Dr. Nangia rightly said, this reaches as many people as the previous variant did in 6 weeks in 2 weeks' time. Which means that without having COVID appropriate behavior, it could start a wave and trigger it very, very fast.
Right.
Which means the first and the easiest thing is to go back to COVID appropriate behavior for the general mass of population, because that is what prevents the spread. Now, whether we will be able to generate new vaccines like we do for the influenza variants going forward, we will have different vaccines for different variants, is something that needs to be seen.
Okay.
However, there's a news today from South Africa that vaccine is able to provide some protection against this variant also, because the major cause of concern in this variant is that because of significant mutation of the glycoprotein, the spike glycoprotein, there is a fear that it will evade the vaccine. So vaccine may not be able to provide adequate protection against this mutant.
Right.
But the minister said that they have some signs that vaccine was able to provide some immunity against the mutant also.
Yes.
The third thing is we saw that the antibodies were also not as effective against the Delta variant. We thought Pfizer was a great vaccine, but we realized it was not so much effective against the Delta variant. So as more and more variants come in, the impact of the current medications and the vaccines may not remain as robust as it was with the previous variants. And that is the main reason to put it as a cause of concern, despite there being so few cases as of now, because it has potential to start another wave in our country and across the world also.
All right, and I think, sir, you have explained it extremely elaborately in a very simplistic manner. Let me take your point forward. Dr. Mandal has also joined us, sir. Sir, the head of AIMS, Dr. Guleria, says that there is no need for booster shot. We have ICMR, a very renowned scientist, Dr. Panda, who I also know very well, very clearly saying that in a country like India, we do not need booster shot. There are many big experts, known experts, who say that there is no scientific evidence for giving a booster shot? Yes, I understand the studies are underway, but we also know that the antibody effect wanes. The efficacy of the vaccine also wanes. We have the latest Lancet study which has come out suggesting a very a similar pattern as far as Covaxin is concerned. Dr. Mandal, what is your view on boosters, considering we have these new variants, new mutations, concerns which are rising right now? Do you think that a booster shot could be the need of the hour, and at the earliest we can't delay it further, sir?
So, question. The thing is, the age of COVID pandemic is 2 years now, and it's active research, whether it is about vaccination or revaccination or booster dose. So everything is under research now, and we are really not in a condition to confidently comment on whether booster dose is really needed or not, whether it is really needed after 1 year or 2 years or what. So we have to wait till the time the scientific data is available. But as of now, what we know that in many viral infections, booster dose really works, and we keep on taking booster dose. Like Dr. Praveen has already said, that we keep on changing our vaccination for influenza because the strain keeps on changing, mutations keep happening. So it might happen for COVID as well, but we have to wait to get that answer. It's not the right time to comment.
Okay, we have
as we all know that.
I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you. Your I think your bandwidth is a little low. If you could just fix your bandwidth a little bit, your video is getting stuck on and off, sir. I'll come back to you, sir, but I have noted your point, and let me take it across to Dr. Kantsru. What is your view, ma'am, on booster doses? Yes, scientific evidence awaited, but we have many studies, many experts who are indicating that the efficacy wanes, and with this new mutation, there is a higher concern. What will you say about booster doses? Any advice, any word for policymakers, perhaps? Ma'am, your audio is off.
Right. So this is not a very easy question to answer. There is no one-to-one answer to your question. But according to me, these first generation vaccines, which are already been given, and to which, our second dose has been given to about 30% to 35% of population only. So even our second dose is pending, and thinking of a booster dose with the first generation vaccines, according to me, is a bit premature, because when we are saying that we have to upgrade our vaccines to the second generation, thinking of the mutations which are happening in COVID-19 virus, we are seeing a lot of mutations happening inside the virus. It's not that it has been stable even for 3 to 6 months. Every 3 to 6 months, we are getting new variants into the picture. So I think personally that we need to upgrade our vaccines to second generation, which could be a better booster to offer to your population rather than the first generation. I agree with you,
ma'am, but won't that, upgrade which you're talking about, isn't that a much longer process? And yes, I know that in a country like ours, yes, there are two sides of a coin. There is an ethical debate also of the entire population not getting vaccinated. But at the same time, we're also reading everyday reports of a large number of vaccines lying unutilized in private hospitals, even in government hospitals, so to speak. Can those not be used to give booster dose to those who want it? Would that be really unethical? Dr. Nangia, your views on that, and then I'll bring in Dr. Praveen Gupta and also Dr. Mandal on other advice for policymakers, and we'll move beyond this discussion on booster doses.
See, actually, this is more a matter of policy than a matter of science here. The science has shown that there are studies where the immunity is likely to wane off with period of time. 6 months to 8 months is what they usually feel, that the effect of the vaccine also wanes off, and even if you have a natural immunity, it wanes off with time. So a booster or a second dose of vaccine is definitely necessary, which probably in due course of time will happen. As you rightly said, it's more of an ethical issue right now. That on one hand, we have only about 33% of the population who receive double vaccination. 76% is still pending to have got complete vaccination done yet. So on top of that, if we start talking about a booster dose already here, then things can become a little difficult and a little tricky. But even if you see with influenza, every year there's a new strain and a new vaccine that comes based on the prevailing strain. So probably we're going to land up in a situation with COVID as well, where every year there may just be some changes in the vaccine, which would be required probably. Just the same way as even now, we're not sure whether the current vaccine cover Omicron completely or not? Or do they need some modification in the vaccine also? So those are answers will still be answered in due course of time. And so
Well,
question
absolutely.
will be
I agree
answered.
that that is a rather futuristic discussion to have. But let's expand this further. As a medical professional, and I understand Dr. Nangia's point that this is a matter of policy also. But Dr. Gupta, as a medical professional, I mean, more than anyone else, it's really the frontline workers, you all who have seen the worst of the Delta wave. What will be your advice to policymakers, since we already have a wave like this which has come in? We know that Mumbai has already decided that they're going to be quarantining passengers who are coming from affected countries, especially South Africa. But the World Health Organization says that travel restrictions isn't the most robust reaction. It is a stopgap solution. What will be your advice, sir, as a medical professional?
So I have three things to say. As far as this variant is concerned, it is a variant of concern at this point of time. Whether this concern will translate into a real problem, we don't know as of yet. And in about 2 weeks' time, we will know whether it will translate into a real problem for us or not. Which means that if you see now, most of the cases are in South Africa, very little cases in Israel and Hong Kong. Now, whether over a period of time we will get the same wave as we did last time, we will see next 2-3 weeks' time. If the wave starts and there is a time gap between the wave starting and going up, we could consider revaccination for especially people at risk. Now, the only problem is if the virus evades the vaccine. Now, whether revaccination with the same vaccine be of any help in this variant, that is very, very doubtful.
Fair enough.
Unfortunately, there are two concerns about health. One is an individual concern, my concern about my own health. And there is a community concern about health, which is everybody's health. Now, this virus marries the individual concern with the social concern because unfortunately, it's not an individual disease, it's a community disease. So we need to figure out what are the best ways for community prevention and to reiterate the COVID appropriate behavior possibly is the cheapest, most effective way to counteract all variants because it works against every variant.
Correct.
Whether the vaccine will work, if the virus evades the vaccine, whether the booster will really help is a great matter of debate at this point of time. But strengthening COVID appropriate behavior, actually finding some way to help or to give some incentive to people practicing COVID appropriate behavior and reprimand or do something in a way of disincentive to people who are flouting their behavior, people not taking vaccination. If there is a governmental way to actually disinfluence them on taking vaccine and influence them or forcing them to take vaccine, possibly a better way for us than doing this.
All right. And, sir, since you speak of COVID appropriate behavior, Dr. Mandal, if you could come in here, we've asked, you all as medical professionals advise for policymakers. What will you say to the people? Yes, COVID appropriate behavior must be followed. That's something which the government has reiterated time and again. But we have seen that as far as the people are concerned, many of them have had a lackadaisical attitude. We are seeing large gatherings which are starting once again because in India, fortunately, at least, the cases are at an all-time low. When you already have a concern over a variant, even though there are no cases in India, what will you say to people, sir? Do you think that that's something which they should be concerned about and perhaps they should follow a protocol as strictly as they did when the second wave was at its peak, sir?
Yeah, of course, I agree with this. This is the best way to prevent any illness which spreads through respiratory passage or breathing. Unfortunately, I have been seeing people who are not following COVID appropriate behavior at all. People living in metro cities still there might be following to some extent, but once you are out of metro cities, the culture is completely different. I just few days back, I went to a smaller cities and I have seen the markets are open, the shops are open, and no one is wearing any mask. So I just asked whether COVID cases are there or not. So then there is no COVID cases. So that's the kind of mindset we are having. We need to change this, and there has to be a reiteration of this COVID appropriate behavior by all means, which was there during the second wave. And regarding policy making, I really do not know whether any policy or law can do this until and unless people are not educated properly and they're not concerned on their own. You cannot just force them to do this for a long run. It might work for a few days, but for a long run, people have to realize on their own that we need to follow this for our own benefit and for the benefit of the community. So that has to be there by motivation, by all media involvement and all these things.
All right. And, I actually wanted to take a couple of quick questions explaining what this is about. And I have about 10 minutes left. But before that, since we are speaking of a extremely pertinent public affair issue and appropriate behavior of the people, Dr. Kanchru, before I move on to the next and the last segment, I want to take one more question from you. There are many who are also or who were thinking of international travel. And I speak of it specifically, considering, of course, it's an English news channel, plays across mostly in urban cities. And that's also our limitation. It's the Christmas, New Year time. What will be your suggestion to those who were thinking perhaps of international travel? Will you say avoid these countries which have seen variants, avoid Europe, US, go to other countries, or will you say hold on international travel altogether for now? What will be your advice, ma'am?
Right. So it wouldn't be that hold on the international altogether to all the countries, but certainly if there are certain variants of concern in some parts of the world, for example, South Africa, then definitely you should be avoiding travel to those countries, and people coming in or halting in those countries should be given rigorous, kind of, scanning in the airport, and they should be tested for COVID-19 if they are coming to our country or to other countries. Definitely, if we let this virus go on to a level where we cannot curb it, then better is to have preventive measures which are less aggressive than going on to a situation where we would be just in a soup and not able to.
Lockdown. Absolutely. Right. Pertinent point, ma'am. And let me just now go on to the last segment. We have about 10 minutes remaining, and I'll ask you all quickly some explainer pointers on this new variant, because those are the type of queries which are coming from our viewers. First of all, Dr. Nandia, can this variant cause reinfection? What do we know on that front, sir?
Yeah, so this variant is easily causing reinfection. In fact, that is what it is known to cause as of now. Whatever little we know about it, reinfections are very common with this variant. Second, we know is that it can be diagnosed easily with the existing PCR kits that we have. It can easily be diagnosed. So for every PCR, when they perform, there are 3 strands that they look at. This is positive for 2 out of those 3. So if they know that there are 2 S positive, as compared to 3, then they can easily label it as the Omicron strain. Then also that the easy transmissibility is what we know about it. The doubling time is pretty rapid with this virus. The number of people getting affected are rising very, very rapidly. As far as immune escape is concerned, whether the medication will be effective or not, we still don't know much about it. Whether the antibody cocktail will be effective or not, we don't know about that. The vaccine may or may not be effective is what we know as of now. So there's still quite a few questions which are unanswered.
But Dr. Gupta, do come in here, sir. What do we know as far as the vaccines are concerned? The vaccine, which most of us have been administered in India, Covishield, a few have been administered Covaxin. What do we know about the efficacy of these 2 vaccines on the new variant, sir?
So the vaccine that we have administered, most of us, is the Covishield, and the Covishield works through the spike glycoprotein actually. And as we have already discussed, there are about 30 odd mutations in the spike glycoprotein in this virus, which is where the question of its ability to evade the vaccine comes from, because if the target has undergone a mutation or a modification, then the vaccine may not work at all, or it may not work as well. We have already seen in Delta variant, large number of people still got infected when they had the vaccine, and we have seen this across the world also, but thankfully the infections were mild and the hospitalizations were less. But if the target undergoes significant mutation, that may also not hold true. And that is why we have said that we may need 2nd generation vaccines which are able to surmount the variants and be effective against them. So that is why the concern lies, because of a variant which has high transmissibility, increased infectivity, and some vaccine resistance, if it spreads, then it may not be possible to check it even with rapidly building up the measures, because instead of 6 weeks, we may see a spread in 2 weeks.
Right.
At this point of time, in a situation similar to February or early March in this country, where the population is very happy and the population is celebrating, the festivals are around the corner.
Yes.
And the concern is there because of a virus, but the concern in public is very, very low. And we may be on the anvil of a new wave, which hopefully does not happen.
Well, okay, Dr. Mandal, do come in here. So the number of cases are low, but the transmissibility is very high. We do not know about the efficacy of the vaccine. Dr. Mandal, what will you say? how much of a concern would you say it is in India right now? Why has there been, first of all, an alarm regarding this variant? Help our viewers understand that, sir.
The thing is now, because the international travels are completely open to almost all countries, so definitely there is a reason to be concerned about this variant. And I think there has to be some rigid policies to prevent infection coming from those countries to this country, which we have noticed in earlier waves, that because of a lot of international travel, there was significant rise in cases coming from other countries. So that is the first step where we can work on this. Secondly, COVID appropriate behavior, and COVID appropriate. There is no replacement of this fact that this is the cheapest and easiest way to curb the infection and spread the infection among people. Now, because it is a very fast-growing virus, the previous vaccines may not be very effective. We have to be very careful, and we have to keep our guards really on to prevent this.
All right. So COVID appropriate behavior, your advice for people. Dr. Kantsru, so ma'am, one more question to you. Since we're discussing, threadbare, this variant, Dr. Nangia has already has clarified that as far as the RT-PCR test is concerned, that can obviously detect this virus just like it could the Delta variant. The symptoms, are they the same as well? The treatment, what do we know on that front, ma'am?
Right. So the symptoms are quite similar to what we have seen previously. There has not been any report of any unusual symptom or new symptom so far, as long as we know about whatever little we know about this virus. And the treatment is going to be similar, as everybody has said, that thankfully, if there was a reinfection, we have only seen mild kind of cases which did not actually require hospitalization or respiratory support. I hope that this happens this time also. But I think monoclonal antibody should be given to high-risk patients, which works by a mechanism by which your virus, the spike protein, is attacked, and it is arrested at a stage when it doesn't attach to your cells. So I think if this monoclonal antibody and the receptor binding domain of this virus, they attach to each other despite being there 30 mutations into the spike protein, then there is nothing like that, because that will prevent your virus entry into the cells, and that might be a game changer per se for this new mutated virus. So as everybody has said it, even if there is some kind of immune evading mechanism with the previous vaccination, which has happened with the 2 doses, but it still gives you some kind of protection in the body, which should be reiterated time and again. And those who are having some kind of affair in their mind or vaccine hesitancy for their second dose should at once go and get their second doses done. And those, of course, who haven't done their vaccination, I urge everybody through your medium that they should get vaccination despite n number of mutations which might come in future also. So that is going to prevent you to go to the hospital and be on oxygen or any kind of respiratory support.
Well, absolutely. So as far as the government is concerned, what they're doing as of now, genome sequencing, quarantining passengers, but of course, there are many other ideas coming in for policymakers as well. I hope they're all listening. As far as, of course, our viewers are concerned, even though there is no case in India, of course, a panel of experts suggests that you continue following COVID-appropriate behavior. That is, of course, as all of them very unanimously agree, is the cheapest form of curbing any new variant which comes. What happens with vaccines, boosters, etc., is a matter of the future. We will keep you updated on all of that. As of now, thank you for watching the show. And of course, very big thanks to all our experts who have taken out the time to explain the dynamics of this new variant and what it means for India, and as of now, what we as the citizens need to do. Thank you so much.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.